has access to them, uses them for school or whatever, how do they steer clear then? What's the next step? How do you navigate this? That's the key. How do you even
Hmm.
know what you believe, right? How do you ascertain what is real, what's not? Let's start with that.
So I would go on to say that this is not a real question. And whether we're talking about ascertaining what's real or whether we're talking about how to navigate technology, right? So let's talk about what's real or not. This is not a new question.
Mm-hmm.
Philosophers have been asking this question from time immemorial. Plato is the most famous example, in antiquity, that we live in his famous allegory of the cave, that we are living in a cave. We see shadows outside, and those shadows we think are real. And then he went on there and made his own thing. And then in early modern philosophy, right after Renaissance, this was a whole big debate between empiricists and the realists, that whether we whether knowledge comes from our senses or it comes from or is it innate. And the most famous one I would say was Descartes, who said that how do I know what I see, what my senses tell me is real? Maybe I'm in a state of dream, and what I see in the dream, while I'm in the dream, I consider it to be real. Now, it's the same question. Now we're not talking about dream anymore. We're talking about AI. So how do we know that we are not wearing augmented reality? Like someone out there is wearing an augmented reality headphones, and I'm a character in his
And
made-up
there's
world,
people who
right?
legitimately believe that.
Believe that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Again, like there's so many tangents that we can go on. So, but
Sure,
the
sure,
point I'm
sure.
trying to make is that this is not a new question. What we
Okay,
know
fair,
and how we
fair,
know it is an old question, and
fair.
we
Link that to
tackle it with the
Islam.
same tools we
How
have.
has Islam or the Quran addressed that then? If it's not a new question, it's got to be somewhere in the Quran then.
Right.
What is your take on it? Because what comes to my mind is the belief in the unseen, the idea that there is the unseen. There are other elements to it, but for example, belief in the angels, belief the six articles of faith is a good example
Yep.
of it. None of
Yep.
which, most of which, you cannot see to believe. You have to have that concept of belief, and then it's connected to the fact that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, gave us, the knowledge of the Quran, and gave us the premises of these discussions. But I don't want to go in that direction either and say, okay, well, because of that, one is the other.
Who'd you ask?
Say again? I'm just throwing it out there. Anybody can talk.
There's a verse in the Holy Quran too, talks about this, that if an unrighteous person brings you some kind of news, make sure
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
verify it, right?
Yeah.
And we're living in a reality basically where this reality basically, that news are coming all around us. Before AI, there was a whole bunch of fake news that were coming left and right. So how do you exactly verify all these things, and what parameters do you use to exactly verify it, right?